final against Chelsea, and it was literally adding injury to insult, if you want to rejig the phrase there, because Manchester City were eventually beaten in that game 1-0 by Chelsea, so he's unavailable to play. They're missing Axel Witsel, the midfielder, who is one of 4 Belgian players to reach a century of caps. They're a very experienced lineup, this so-called golden generation, but the problem they've got is that quite a few of their players are in their 30s now, or well into their 30s, so you might say it could be the last chance as Russia look to come forward now. Here is Juba trying to flick the ball through to Golovin, who was making the run through the centre, and Russia have earned themselves a corner 6 minutes into the game. Juba just got away there from Alderweireld, and he saw that Golovin was making the run, but Boyata came across, made the challenge, but then the ball bounced off Dendoncker and behind for a corner kick. Russia have got the advantage, of course, of playing in front of their home fans at the St. Petersburg Stadium, so they'll look to try and make good use of that. It's going to be the Monaco man Golovin to take this corner kick. Russia, plenty of big men in the box, but Belgium with 3 centre-halves, the likes of Lukaku able to get back. Golovin, well, it doesn't matter how many men you've got in the box, if the corner evades every single one of them and goes behind for a throw-in, and there's going to be no danger whatsoever. We'll probably just put that down to early game nerves. Stanislav Cherchesov is the Russia coach. The referee, by the way, hails from Spain. Antonio Mateo Lahoz is the man in the middle. We do have VAR involved in this game as well. We saw it earlier today in the Wales v Switzerland 1-1 draw. Switzerland thought they had a late winner thanks to Mario Gavranovic, but VAR indicated that he did just stray ever so slightly offside. The ball was played over to Fernandez on the far side then, but the ball just jumps over his head, and it will go out for a throw-in. Belgium sweep it forward. It's gone out for another throw-in, which Belgium will take. No Eden Hazard, but Torgan Hazard, who plays his football for Borussia Dortmund, is playing in that left wing-back role. It's not exactly the position that he usually adopts, but it's such an attacking lineup that Roberto Martinez feels comfortable playing more natural wingers in that role. A few more defensive responsibilities perhaps, but the 3 centre-backs they've got, Alderweireld, Boyata, Vertonghen, all of them vastly experienced. And don't forget the goalkeeper as well, Thibaut Courtois, formerly of Chelsea, now of Real Madrid. It's amazing how many players in this Belgium squad have played their football in the Premier League or are currently playing their trade in England. I think it's 17 of 23 that have played on these shores before. As Alderweireld switches the ball over to the far side now for Hazard. It's good control from the young Hazard, shall we say. Here is Alderweireld, played back to him. Chips it forward. Hazard's in space on the far side. It's Dendoncker who heads it into the path of Lukaku. Russia have got many men back defending well. Played forward. They're going to try and launch a counter, but they're stopped in their tracks as Tielemans was just brought down there. Yuri Tielemans, who had quite possibly his finest hour, not just in a Leicester shirt, but in his whole football career around a month ago when he fired in that winner in the FA Cup final against Chelsea as Romelu Lukaku. The ball has broke to him in the box and he's opened Belgium's account. It was just a really hopeful cross sent into the area. Russia had 2 defenders back. They simply couldn't deal with it. And there was Lukaku. It's a very good turn and finish from the Inter Milan striker. He never looked like he was going to miss. The ball was played in, but he is offside. Looking at the replay, that's surely going to be chalked off by VAR. The Russia players had their arms up in the air. Did take a slight nick off. It was the number 5, Semenov, came off him last, but the Lukaku was clearly in an offside position. Good finish, striking it into the ground, into that far corner, but surely this is going to be chalked off. The fact that Lukaku was stood in an offside position. I've seen goals chalked off before, even when they've come off the defender last. But the game is back underway, so the goal is going to stand, and Belgium lead by a goal to nil. Not long gone, and Belgium have already taken the lead, and Russia will be kicking themselves defensively because it's just a very simple, straightforward ball swung in from the near side by Timothy Castagna. Andrei Semenov, the Russia centre-back, gets himself into a real muddle. The ball just takes a big bounce off him. It falls to Romelu Lukaku, and on the swivel he finishes very nicely left-footed to make it Belgium 1, Russia 0. Is the fact that the ball came off Semenov last, and the Belgian centre forward was classed as being onside. So Russia now with it all to do. Belgium lead by a goal to nil. They're looking to attack now down the far side with Hazard. Play back into midfield. Would expect Belgium to dominate the possession of this game. That's the Roberto Martinez way. Ball swept forward now, but goalkeeper Shunin collects it. This is the 6th meeting between these two sides at a major tournament. But the first at the European Championship. Russia won the first 2. Back then, when they were known as the USSR, but since then Belgium have won all 3 games, and already at this early stage they look a good bet to make it 4 in a row. Played forward by the Tongan. Now Fernandez for Russia. Born in Brazil, but a Russian citizen now, so he plays his international football for Russia. It's a very similar story for Ukraine, where in particular lots of Brazilians play for Shakhtar Donetsk, and there's a few of them that have represented Russia because of that. As Russia play the ball forward, it's a good header by Artem Zhuba. It drops now for Golovin. Golovin is trying to run forward into the box. He does well up against 2 Belgian players. Alderweireld makes the challenge. He feels that the ball came off Golovin last, but a corner has been awarded. A combination of Alderweireld and Castagna. I think the referee got that call just about spot on. It looked as though it took the tiniest deflection back off Alderweireld when he was making the challenge. So Belgium now with some defending to do. Golovin's corner, and it's headed towards goal, and that's a really big opportunity. It's Fernandez who broke into the box, and a towering header. The defending very suspect from Belgium, and that's by far Russia's best opportunity of the game. And it's a Golovin corner. It was the source for that opportunity. Ball played forward by Russia, but it's going to go out of play for a throw-in. Camera, just as I'm looking at my off-tube studio pictures there, focusing on Andrei Semenov. If he hadn't have touched the ball, if it had dropped straight for Lukaku, then the flag would have gone up. But the fact that Semenov attempted to make the clearance meant that the ball was regarded really as a back pass, if you like. I'll tell you that Finland are leading that restarted game by a goal to nil. Joel Poyampalo with the strike just on the hour mark. Pierre-Emile Højbjerg has missed a penalty for Denmark, who, if you are just joining us, we've seen Christian Eriksen collapse on the field. He's been taken to hospital, but the good news is that he has been stabilised. And looking at some of the reaction on social media, journalists there are saying that it was Eriksen's decision for Denmark to get the game back underway. He said he feels okay. It's great to hear, as Russia had a pot shot just from the edge of the area then. It was Ozdoev that sent the ball well wide following the knockdown from Artem Dzyuba. But Russia are showing that they're not just going to roll over. There'll be expectation upon them. They did have a really good World Cup, got to the quarter-finals. They defeated Spain on the way on their own patch, winning a penalty shootout. Came through a group which included Uruguay, Egypt and Saudi Arabia. They won that first game of the tournament against Saudi Arabia 5-0, and okay, you've got to say that of the 32 teams competing in that tournament, Saudi probably the worst of the lot, but still very impressive for Russia, team who don't really have any obvious stars. This man is probably it, Golovin, as he sends the ball in from the near side. It's cleared by Belgium. Comes out now to Zobnin on this near side. Ball's going to be sent over towards the far stick. Just glanced away by Hazard. Had the beating there of Fernandez, but didn't quite keep the ball in. Linesman has signalled for a throw-in right by the corner flag on that far side. 17 minutes gone. Independent off-tube studio commentary. It's Belgium 1, Russia 0. Romelu Lukaku with the only goal of the game so far after 11 minutes. He was stood in an offside position, but the ball came off the Russian defender Andrei Semenov last. So the ball fell to him nicely. He was able to swivel and finish with his favoured left foot. Really nice finish past Shunin. But since then, Russia have probably been the better of the two sides. It's a reaction which really will please their coach, Cherchesov. But that won't please him because they've given the ball away at the back, and now Lukaku can run forward. He needs a bit of support, or is he going to go alone? Lukaku! Oh, he very nearly got a strike away then. He pulls it back, and it's blazed over by Leander Dendoncker. Well, Lukaku did brilliantly well initially to try and create something for himself. Challenge that came in had to be timed to perfection, and it was from Georgi Jakir. Lukaku then had the presence of mind to pull it back to his colleague Leander Dendoncker, the Wolves midfielder. He couldn't keep the effort down, sent it well over the bar. Belgium had a great chance to double their advantage. 4 games in to the European Championships, but that's the first goal we've seen happen in the first half of the match. Turkey went down 3-0 to Italy. That all started in the second half with Demirel's own goal. Italy very impressive last night in the opener. Wales against Switzerland finished 1 apiece. Denmark against Finland is a different story entirely, but Finland still lead that game by 1-0. There's around 10 minutes to go in that, plus however much time is added on at the end. And in St. Petersburg, it's Russia on their own patch, currently being beaten by 1-0 by the world #1 side, Belgium, the Red Devils as they're known. For so many years, they were just also rans. It was an achievement for them if they were to reach an international tournament. Now, you don't just expect them to get to an international tournament, you expect them to be in the running to win it. It's a brilliant generation of players they've got. Here's Alderweireld. All the Belgian outfield players are in the Russia half at the moment. And after a little bit of a renaissance from Russia, a good riposte to going 1-0 down, Belgium just beginning to re-establish control of the game. Tielemans now. Tielemans trying to play a neat-looking through ball to his Leicester colleague Castagna, but intercepted there by Jakir. Played back to Shunin. His only real option was to thump it forward. Finds now Boyata. Here is Alderweireld. Lukaku. Tielemans. Castagne's made a run into the box. Now with Dries Mertens. Swept forward by Tielemans. Cleared by Russia. Fernandez now. Forward by Semenov. Controlled by Zobnin, but the Belgium skipper Jan Vertonghen knew where it was going to land, and he's able to just play it back to his goalkeeper Courtois. Boyata. Alderweireld. Just over the halfway line. On this near Mertens. Mertens attempting to take it away from Golovin. It falls now for Lukaku, the obvious Belgium danger man. A few nice step overs. Belgium trying to work something neat in the box. Russia are able to clear. It's just a wall of white shirts in the way at the moment, but Belgium aren't going away. Here is Carrasco on the far side. Carrasco pulls it back now for Hazard. Hazard with the cross. Is it going to drop kindly? Yes, it is, but Schuening comes out a long way and makes the save from close range. I think it was Hazard who ended up having the shot towards goal. Not a sitter by any means. The angle was very tight and it was very decisive goalkeeping from Anton Schuening. Belgium just breaking forward there. It was Hazard who struck it left. Schuening making the save. Midway through the first half, it's still Belgium 1, Russia 0. Russia's response to going 1-0 down was really good. They forced a couple of decent opportunities, the first of which saw Alexander Golovin swing a corner into the box. Mario Fernandez met it with a bullet header. He wasn't picked up by any Belgian defender. It was a good save by Thibaut Courtois. The second effort was a scuffed effort from the edge of the box by Magomed Ozdoev. Never going to trouble the Belgian defence, but then Belgium came forward. Russia gave the ball away at the back. A really powerful run forward by Romelu Lukaku, exactly what we've expected to see from him over the years. He was then forced out wide slightly. It was a good challenge by Semenov. He pulled it back towards Leander Dendoncker, who shot well over the bar. It's Belgium 1, Russia 0. Russia again with a chance to come forward. Challenge comes in from Mertens. It's a good challenge as well. This is where Russia maybe found wanting a little bit, and not the quickest of sides. Carrasco now, left side of the box, tries to do it himself. He wins a corner. It's not a bad result, but there were teammates that he could have looked to find instead, rather than, it seems, attempting to nutmeg Mario Fernandez in the area. Corner comes in from Belgium. Boyata closest to meeting it. It just went beyond him. Russia will want to counter-attack. Oh, there's a bit of a clash of heads there inside the centre circle. Both players were competing fiercely for the ball. Castagne's gone down. I think it might be Juba as well. It is Artem Zuba. No, it's not Artem Zuba. Sorry, it's Dala Kuziav. Bit of a painful one to take. It looks as though Kuziav has almost headbutted the midriff of Castagne. Going for the ball, of course, not an intentional butt. Lukaku with the only goal of the game so far. And what's been a very strange and sad day for football. News of Christian Eriksen being taken to hospital after needing CPR treatment on the field of Denmark's match against Finland. Still a couple of minutes left in that game of the 90, plus however much time is needed to be added on. There's going to be a bit of a break here while two players who collided are making Making sure they're okay. Well, Belgium are getting their substitution ready. And it looks as though Timothy Castagna is coming off, and he looks as though he's got a very big bruise on his eye. So an early exit perhaps for the Leicester man. Thomas Meunier is the obvious replacement to bring on. He's got an ice pack on his face now, Castagna. Doesn't look too pleasant. It looks as though his face is swollen already. So he's coming off, and Kuziav will be able to carry on. He's got a bandage on his head now, so that'll make him very recognisable for the rest of the game. Castagna off. Thomas Meunier will come on. Put through his paces by Roberto Martinez. Very adequate replacement, however, former PSG man. Kuziav is having more bandages applied to his head. They're just going through the concussion protocol. Castagna clearly didn't pass that, but Kuziav, I think, is going to do so. So Belgium's preparations for the game and tactics for now just being disrupted slightly, but it's not as if they're plugging gaps with players who don't know the position. It's very much a square peg in a square hole as far as Meunier is concerned. Here is Vertonghen now. Cross to Hazard. Tielemans. Now Hazard. Boyata. Alderweireld. Meunier. Can't get away from Golovin. Russia are able to clear it of sorts. Almost played themselves into a bit of trouble there with Barinov, but it's now dropped for Yuri Zhirkov, who was the backup left back to Chelsea once upon a time when Ashley Cole was the made man at Stamford Bridge. Still going strong. 37 years old now, Yuri Zhirkov, but Russia clearly trusting him to play up against. It would have been Castagna for most of the game, but Thomas Meunier as well as Mertens, who's going to pop up on that side. Here is Hazard. Tielemans. Boyata. Alderweireld fancies the shot. He blazes it over the bar. Well, he saw that he wasn't being closed down too swiftly by the Russian side. It's a nice strike from the Tottenham centre-back. I'll tell you, by the way, that Kuziav, well, we thought he was going to carry on. He's not. He's going to be replaced by Denis Cheryshev, a man who had a very good World Cup a few years ago. He's just never really been a regular player. He was at Valencia then. Couldn't get in the side on too regular a basis. Lukaku. Russia clear. It's going to drop though for Alderweireld, who'll casually sweep it back to Thibaut Courtois. And one save to make thus far from the Mario Fernandes header. Corner swung in by Golovin. Fernandes was up. Excellent positioning though from Courtois. Boyata. Alderweireld over the halfway line and then pulls it back to Boyata. Tielemans. Alderweireld, Lukaku coming short, but he sold Lukaku short with the pass. Golovin now, Meunier quick as a flash, gets the ball off him. Golovin just delayed the ball ever so slightly. wasn't able to get it forward as quickly as he'd like. Free kick now awarded to Russia. Barinov brought down. Looking at the replay, did Dries Mertens intentionally stamp on the, how do we say, delicate area of Barinov? I think VAR might be having a look at that to determine whether it was a serious piece of serious foul play or not. Game back underway. Mertens with the throw. Surprised that the referee didn't take a closer look at that. VAR, of course, is in action. Zurich will be the new Stockley Park for the next month. Cleared by Courtois. He was forced to come a long way out of his own box. He was being closed down as well, so it only goes for a throw-in. 32 minutes gone in this contest, where it's Belgium 0, Russia 1. See, by the way, that Finland have beaten Denmark, although the result of that game will pale into insignificance. But for Finland, it's certainly not insignificant, because this is their first international tournament they've ever played in, and they marked it with a win that they will have wanted. There was a noticeable muted celebration when Poyampolo scored that goal, just out of respect for a fellow professional whose life was in the balance on the field of play when he was receiving treatment. It looked as though the medical team have worked miracles, and Eriksson is awake, he is stable, and he did FaceTime his teammates to play out the rest of the game. There is Hazard on the far side for Carrasco now. Tielemans, Hazard. Hazard's ball in is dangerous, it's spilled by the goalkeeper, and Mounier. Russia, 2 defensive mistakes have undone them already. It's a brilliant cross from Torgan Hazard. It was made so difficult for Anton Shunin, but he didn't help himself. He just parried it. It fell to Mounier, and he's made it Belgium 2, Russia 0. Belgium have got a second goal, and it's another defensive mistake from Russia that's cost them, this time from the goalkeeper. In fairness, it's an absolutely brilliant ball swung in from the far side by Torgan Hazard. It came over a couple of Russia heads. Maybe Anton Shunin was slightly unsighted, but he shouldn't have parried it straight to the feet of the substitute Thomas Mounier. He's come on for the injured Timothy Castagna, and he was there just to side foot it home, left-footed, to make it Belgium 2, Russia 0. Such calmness about the way that Mounier stroked that ball into the back of the net. No rustiness from him whatsoever. Now what can Russia do? They're trying to come forward quickly and halve the deficit even quicker. Ball played forward, but they're just going to let that run Belgium into the path of the goalkeeper. This could be a long evening for Russia in St. Petersburg. Forward pass through to Lukaku. Russia making last-ditch challenges now. It comes to the goal scorer, Mounier. Mounier sends it in. It's half cleared by Samenev. Zhirkov has just played the ball out now